Okay, so guys, the next thing that we are going to talk about we have is malaria. Okay, but now malaria, guys, who's the causative agent? Like, what really happens out over here? See, we have always known that malaria is caused by your mosquitoes, but are mosquitoes really the causative agent? No, mosquitoes are just the vector. Okay, so once again, guys, let's try to find out who is the real causative agent out over here. Okay, so now, guys, first of all, who is the one who is going to be transmitting this? So this is transmitted by the bite of your female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, by the bite of female Anopheles. Okay, mosquito. Okay, guys, see, we had said there were three types of your mosquitoes. One is Anopheles, Culex, and then the other one. Yes, guys, come on, quickly tell me. Anopheles, Culex, and the one which is going to give you dengue, guys. Aedes mosquito. Okay, so remember these are the three ones that we are going to see. Okay, yeah. But now, what is this female mosquito, guys? Once again, like I said, this is just going to be the vector. Vector means this is the one who is going to help in transmission and of the actual pathogen from one place to the another. So who is the real causative agent, guys? So the real causative agent is going to be plasmodium. Okay, the protozoan that is plasmodium. Plasmodium, guys, we have different types of your plasmodium. Okay, so this is a protozoan. Okay, so let's try to see what are the types. So we have plasmodium malaria. Okay, plasmodium malaria. Second one, we have plasmodium ovale. Okay, plasmodium. Okay, plasmodium ovale. Third, we have plasmodium falciparum. Okay, plasmodium falciparum. Now, guys, always remember this plasmodium falciparum. This is the most severe of them all. Really, really deadly. And the last one, we have plasmodium vivax. Okay, and to tell you, plasmodium vivax is the most common of them all. That way. So, guys, these are the actual causative agent, the plasmodium. Okay, but now, guys, let's try to see who is the host. Now, just like when we talked about your dengue, when we talked about your filariasis, see, in the case of filariasis, Wuchereria had two hosts, the mosquito and the human. Same way, here also, you are going to have two hosts. First, it is going to be the mosquito, and the second one, it is going to be your human. Both the things. Okay, but now, guys, once again, how is the transmission? So let's try to see what really happens. So I will just give you a gist of it. Okay, first I'll just make you understand how the process really works. So, guys, now what happens is, first of all, we are going to have a mosquito. Okay, so let's imagine we have a mosquito. This mosquito, this bites a person who is already suffering from malaria. Okay, so this bites a person suffering from malaria. Now what happens? The moment this one bites the person suffering from malaria, she is going to pick up all the germs. Okay, pick up the germs along with the blood. Okay, she picks up germs along with the blood. Okay, now what happens, guys? Now these germs, okay, they are going to develop inside the mosquito. And ultimately, what happens, guys, these develop inside the mosquito in the stomach, and then from the stomach, they enter into the salivary glands. Okay, now what happens? Okay, so that I'll just mention the germs develop in the body and finally enter the salivary glands. Okay, Now, once they have entered the salivary glands, now what happens, guys? Now you are going to see that whenever this mosquito bites another human, along with the saliva, these germs are going to be transferred into another healthy person or any other person that it is going to bite. So when this mosquito bites another person or another human, okay, it is going to transfer the germs. And at the end, what is going to happen, guys? The new person who has got this thing, he is going to suffer. This is how the entire cycle of malaria is going to be like. So once again, guys, we said we are going to have two hosts. See, earlier in the other case, guys, when we talked about your this thing, we also said, here we're going to have two hosts. And how are the hosts basically? See, we said in all there were like 5 stages of molting, out of which 2 stages of molting were in the human and 3 stages of molting were in the mosquito. Here, as such, there is no no stages of molting as such. But then here we are just going to see two different, this thing, like two different stages, two different hosts. Okay, so now guys, once again, where is this going to start? We said it is going to start with the mosquito. So guys, let's try to see what exactly is going to happen out of it. Okay, so now guys, let's imagine we have a mosquito, and this mosquito, she has come and she has bit you. Okay, so let's say she has bit you. Okay, and now let's try to see what is the entire sequence going to be like. So first of all, this female, she comes and she bites a person who is already suffering. Okay, so she bites a person with malaria. Okay, fine. But now, guys, in this person, okay, who is already suffering from malaria, you are going to see the germs present. But how are the germs? The germs are present in the form of gametocytes. Okay, so now what happens is when this mosquito bites the person with malaria, you are going to see that she takes up the gametocytes. Okay, so you're going to see the gametocytes are taken up along with the blood. Okay, fine. But now what happens? Now, once the gametocytes are taken, these gametocytes, they are now going to travel to the gut of the mosquito. Okay. Now, guys, once they travel to the gut of the mosquito, now you're going to see that they form a structure called as ookie meat. Okay. So, very, very important. Okay. They form a structure which is called as ookie meat. Okay. Fine. Okay. A single O. Sorry. Okay. Now, once they have formed this structure, now what exactly is going to happen? Let's try to see. So, guys, this meat, whatever we are talking about, this is now going to penetrate in the gut lining. So, this penetrates the gut lining. So now let me just show you how it is going to happen, guys. So let's imagine this is that entire gut region. Okay, this is the entire gut region. Now, this ukinate actually comes and this is going to come and it is going to stick or it is going to penetrate to one side of the gut. Okay, and now here, how is this ukinate actually formed, guys? Okay, so when we see that, the gametocytes did travel, so you will see that these gametocytes, they are going to be differentiated into your male and female. So these gametocytes, when they travel to the gut, they are going to differentiate into your male and female. And the male and the female, they reproduce to form your ookinate. Okay. So this structure, whatever we are seeing, let's say you have the male and the female, they have mated with one another. Okay, so the male and female gametocytes meet with one another to form. Okay, fine. But now, guys, the moment it penetrates, okay, so now let's see. The moment it penetrates the gut lining, guys, what happens is this is now going to convert into your oocyst. Okay. Now, the moment it converts into a structure called oocyst, guys, this oocyst is now going to convert into your sporozoites. This is the next stage. See, gametocysts, then now these are going to convert into your sporozoites. Okay. Now, guys, once we have the sporozoites, now what happened? See, I told you these germs, they're going to come into the salivary gland, right? So let's try to see what happens next. Okay. So now these sporozoites, you are going to see that they travel to the salivary glands. Okay, they are going to travel to the salivary glands of the mosquito. And now, once they have traveled to the salivary glands of the mosquito, now you're going to see that this mosquito bites another human. Okay, but now, guys, the moment okay, the moment it bites another human, what are you going to see? The germs are going to be transferred. So you will see the sporozoites are transferred into the new home. Okay, so fine. So guys, see, once again, all these things, whatever that is happening right out over here, this is happening in the mosquito only. At this moment, everything is in the mosquito. Okay, but now let's try to see what is the next thing that is going to happen. Okay, actually, I will just take this thing and I will put it out over here. Okay, okay, so this is what is going to happen. So early until here, okay, until the mosquito bites another human, everything was happening in the mosquito. Okay, but now let's try to see the next thing, guys. Okay, now what happens? Now, once it has entered into the other human, now we are going to see the next phase of this entire cycle. Okay, so what is going to happen? Let's try to see. So these sporozoites, like I said, okay, they are now going to enter, okay, into the blood of the human, because now you are going to, like, the person, like the mosquito has bit you. Okay, so now you are going to see that the sporozoites, whatever we're talking about, they are going to move through the blood. Okay. Now, as they move through the blood, now what happens, guys? They are going to find their way into the liver. So they get lodged into the liver. Okay. Now, once they are lodged into the liver, now what happens, guys? Now you're going to see that they are going to change into something else. So first, now they were, like, going into the liver. Slowly, they start infecting the liver cells. So they infect hepatocytes. Okay. Now, once they have infected hepatocytes, guys, immediately, see, I told you they are going to change. So immediately now, once they are infected, I mean, they have infected the hepatocytes, they are now going to convert into merozoites. Okay. And now, once they have converted into merozoites, guys, what is the next step? Immediately, they burst open. They burst open the hepatocytes. Okay. Now, if they have bursted open the hepatocytes, guys, now these merocytes, they are going to once again come up into the blood. Okay, just a moment, just a moment. Sorry, sorry. Sorry. What happens if it's not the female Anopheles who bites a person suffering from malaria? So, see, only and only the female mosquito is going to bite. I've already told you the male mosquitoes, they are fructivorous. They will never bite a human. I mean, the males don't bite. Okay. So only the females will bite. So, and if it is like, the female mosquito doesn't harbor the germs, then the other person will not suffer that way. Okay. So, uh, 1 minute. There's some, yeah. Sir, my mom asking how would even differentiate all the mosquito? All we know is that they are blood suckers. Now, if you look at all the three of them, like Aedes, then we look at your the Anopheles, and we look at the Culex. All the three, they exhibit different structures, different shapes, different sizes. Plus, their larvae are also different. The way they are going to float into water, that is also different. So if you have a little knowledge, then yes, you can differentiate all the three. Okay. But sir, after biting the healthy person, is the mosquito free of the causative agent? No, 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 no. See, once the mosquito is infected, now the mosquito is infected for a long time. So it is not going to be immediately free. Okay. Aedes have white stripes on them. Yes, they are going to have the spotted kind of thing. Okay. Also, the way the Culex and the way the malaria ones they stand or they sit, they perch. Okay, the sitting position is also different. So depending upon that, you can immediately come to know who is the malaria one, who is the Aedes one. That way. Okay. Chalo. So let's try to see the next thing. Okay, so now guys, here what has happened. So see, we have converted it. The normal ones is the ones that we see. These are the Anopheles ones only. Okay. However, we don't see that malaria is that rampant. Had it been that malaria was rampant, then everybody would have started getting it. But the normal ones, these are your Anopheles. Okay. So now, guys, what happens? Let's try to see. So now you have burst open the hepatocytes. Okay. See, until here we were in the liver. Okay. Now, once again, we are going to enter into the blood. So now, because we have burst open the hepatocytes, we are going to enter the blood. Okay. Now what? Now, once we have entered into the blood, we are going to see that now they start infecting the RBCs. Okay, so they infect RBCs. Now, once these RBCs are infected, immediately you are going to see that now they are going to convert. Okay, from your, see, earlier they were merozoites. Now, immediately they convert into your trophozoites. Okay, so they convert into trophozoites, or we also call them as schizonts. Okay, so they convert into the trophozoites or the schizonts. Okay, and now what happens, guys? Slowly they are going to develop inside the RBCs, and now they start bursting open the RBCs. So they break open RBCs. Okay, now once the RBCs have broken up, guys, this is the time you you are going to feel those chills. Okay, those extreme chills or rigors that is taking place in your body. Then what is going to happen? Immediately you're going to see that once again these trophozoites, or now the gametocytes, they are going to come up into the bloodstream, and once again the same thing is going to happen. The moment it is present in the bloodstream, guys, now this is going to be sucked up by the mosquito. The mosquito once again is going to continue this entire phase like this. So guys, see, this is all that is going to happen in your malaria. Okay, and guys, once again, very, very, very important question from your board's point of view, guys, because remember, this will be asked for 4 marks. Two things. One, this is going to be asked for 4 marks, or this is going to be asked for 3 marks diagram. Okay, so draw the life cycle of malarial parasite. Okay, but now let's try to see. So guys, what we need to do is we need to draw a few lines out of here so that we can show where are these phases happening. So let me just draw a straight line like this until here. Okay, so until this, whatever that was happening, it was happening inside the mosquito. So we call this thing as the mosquito host. Okay, and here on the left hand side, whatever that is happening, this is going to happen in humans. So we call this thing as human host. Okay, but in your human host also, there are going to be two different phases. Okay, so let me just draw a line out over here. See, whatever that was happening in orange, okay, that was not happening inside your RBCs. It was happening inside your liver. So we call this phase as pre-erythrocytic phase. This phase is known as pre-erythrocytic phase. Okay, and now the one which is on the top, this is known as your erythrocytic phase. Okay, this is your erythrocytic phase. So this is how it is going to happen, guys. Okay, so once again, just have a look, guys. Just see if everybody is okay with this thing. Very, very important question from the board's point of view. Okay, either your filariasis or your malaria. Okay, one of them is going to come no matter what, guys. For example, a person has a strong immune system, so will she still get malaria after the bite? No, then the chances are low. Okay, but for that your body has to fight with it. Okay, if the body has has good immune system, and if it wins over it, then you will not be suffering. But if your immune system fails, then there is a problem. Okay, just have a look, then we'll move on to the symptoms, like how the symptoms are, what really happens out over there. Okay, everybody all right with this, guys? Sure, no issues? Okay, so now let's try to see symptoms. Okay, now those who have suffered from malaria, definitely they will know the symptoms, really first hand types. Okay, but let's try to see some of the most important things that you will encounter out over here. Okay, now the first thing, guys, you are going to see, you are going to have chills. Okay, there is going to be the cycle of chills and fever, chills and fever, chills and fever. Okay, so we have this chills, or we can say these are going to be your rigors. Okay, now when do we get these chills and rigors, guys? You are going to see this when the germs are going to be bursting open the RBCs. Okay, so when RBCs burst open and release the germs. Okay, release the parasites. Okay, fine. Second thing, guys, along with this chills, okay, now always remember, because there is going to be this, chills and fever, I told you, you are going to see that there is going to be fever along with the chills. Okay, fine. Next thing, guys, if you are having fever, okay, then what are you going to suffer from immediately? You are going to have sweating. Okay, so this is like, all of them, they go hand in hand. Okay, but now, guys, you are going to experience headache. Okay, so the head starts hurting a lot. Next thing, you are going to lose the ability to have a good appetite. You don't just don't want to eat anything, so that is going to result into your nausea. Then you are going to experience vomiting as well. Okay, next thing, guys, as malaria progresses, you are going to see one of the most important symptoms, that is arthralgia. And arthralgia is what, guys? Arthralgia is nothing but your joint pain. Okay, this is a very important discerning characteristic. Okay. Now, the next thing, guys, what is going to happen? See, your RBCs are going to burst open, pop, 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 right? Now, as the mosquitoes burst, as the RBCs burst open, immediately you start suffering from low hemoglobin. Now, guys, if you are going to have low hemoglobin, what will you suffer from? You are going to suffer from anemia. Okay. Now, if you're going to suffer from disease, then you are going to suffer from hemoglobinuria. Okay. Now, guys, next. Okay, so all these three, they are going to be the related one. Now, what happens? See, you are going to be using your energy like really, really rapidly. Why? Because you are going to see this fever to increase, to get fever, guys, you need to use energy. Along with that, you are going to show you chills. That is also going to use require energy. So for all this purpose, you are going to use huge amounts of glucose. So what is going to happen? Ultimately, you are going to see hypoglycemia because you have utilized all the sugar. Okay. Now, since there is sudden increase in the bursting of your RBCs, where are the RBCs going to go for final destruction? They are going to go to the spleen. But then the spleen is going to be working overtime. So immediately you're going to see swelling in the spleen. So that is going to result into splenomegaly. Always remember, guys, spleen is known as the graveyard of RBCs. And plus, guys, your liver was also infected. So you are also going to see hepatomegaly. Hepatomegaly. So, guys, this is what is going to happen. All these are going to be the symptoms. Is the mosquito's life cycle decreased? No. See, because see, what is happening is here, the mosquito is not going to be affected in any manner. Mosquito doesn't even know that, she is suffering from malaria. I mean, she is carrying the germs and all. She is not going to have any change in her life. But then she is going to just act as the vector. That's it. Okay. Now let's try to see. Okay. Now, in this case, guys, we are going to see the next thing. Okay. See, when I said, we are going to have this, cycle of chills, rigor, and fever. Okay. So, how is it going to happen? You're going to see different cases. Okay. So, let's try to see. So, in the first case, guys, you are going to see that this cycle of chills and fever, okay, this occurs every 2 to 6 hours. Okay. Every 2 to 6 hours, every 2 days, every 2 to 6 hours, every 2 days, in the case of your Plasmodium ovale and Plasmodium vivax. Okay, as I said, vivax is the most common one. Okay, but now the same thing, you are going to say that this is going to happen 2 to 3, every 2 to 6 hours, every 3 days. This is going to happen in the case of your Plasmodium malaria. Okay, and now guys, this is going to be the most severe, mean this is going to occur repeatedly at a faster rate in the case of your Plasmodium falciparum. Okay, so this way, so this is how it is going to be. Okay, but now guys, how can we prevent this thing from happening? Like, how can you prevent? Okay, so let's try to see what are the preventions. Now, guys, the main thing is, say, if there is no mosquito, then therefore there will be no malaria. So your main thing out over here is to target the organism itself. Okay, so how are you going to target the organisms? Yes, so you can use mosquito nets. Okay, so we have used mosquito nets. Second thing, let's say, for example, you have used mosquito repellents, Odomos. Okay, then let's say, you must have used insecticides, like for example kala heat. Okay, so kala heat for mosquitoes. So or insecticides. Okay, so kala heat, or maybe you are using good night, or mortine. Okay, all those things, those are nothing but insecticides. Okay, yes, avoid places with stagnant water. Absolutely right, Sneha Singh. So the next thing is remove any kind of stagnant water in your vicinity. Okay, because now what happens is, you will always see that mosquitoes, the malaria ones, they are always going to lay their eggs in the stagnant water. So whether there is water filled in your tires or your water pots, or maybe it is even cracks, crevices, make sure you remove any kind of stagnant water. Okay, because these are their breeding places. Sir, question, do mosquitoes really get immune to a particular type of repellent? Yes, absolutely. And this happens with every organism. So what happens is, initially when there is any new drug, okay, new drug or new compound, okay, let's say today you have got this X compound and you have spread it over. This is new at the time being. Okay, nobody knows what is this. So when this is going to come in contact with the mosquitoes, mosquitoes will start dying, because they'll be like, we don't know what is this, and immediately it starts dying. Now what happens? Slowly, slowly, over a period of time, because this drug is present in the vicinity, slowly the mosquitoes start developing a resistance against it. Okay, this is called as resistance. So now, initially you were just applying, let's say, 1 gram. Okay, let's imagine 1 gram was sufficient to kill the mosquitoes. Now they have started getting used to it. Then what happens? With 1 gram, nothing is going to happen. So let's say you have to apply a higher dose, 5 grams. After 5 grams, once again they are going to become immune. So now you have to use 10 grams. Eventually it is going to happen this way that the mosquitoes, they are not going to respond to this thing at all. Now this has no effect. Now you have to change this and you have to go for a new drug. This is how the cycle is going to be always. Okay, so this thing. Okay, so the next thing is to remove any kind of your stagnant water. Okay, but now guys, you know what, see, it is technically not possible at some places to remove all the water. See, for example, we are talking about your paddy fields. Paddy fields, they have to have water present inside. Our paddy fields is what, rice fields, they need to have water present out over there. So how is it, how is the rice really going to grow? So if that is the case, we need to take care of the mosquito larvae by some or the other way. In that case, guys, what we do is we are going to use this fish called as gambusia. Okay, so people who are in stagnant waters, or let's say there are gutters which cannot be cleaned or sewage nalas which cannot be cleaned, they release this gambusia fish. Okay, now why especially? Yes, this is known as guppy. Okay, in Marathi, we call this thing as guppy. Okay, guppy fish. Anybody wants to know then? Okay, so what this gambusia fish does is this eats the mosquito larvae specifically. It doesn't cause harm to the plants and all, but eats only the mosquito larvae. So that way. So this is your gambusia fish. Okay, and finally, guys, okay, finally, is there any treatment? Yes, there is treatment available for malaria. Let's try to see what is the treatment that is given. Okay, so now, guys, generally the treatment is done with quinone. Okay, quinone is nothing but a group of drugs, guys. Okay, and now there is one more therapy which is called as artemisinin combined therapy. Okay, artemisinin combined therapy. Okay, so or we call this thing as ACT. Okay, so what is this combined therapy actually? So you are going to see it includes use of different drugs like sulfadoxine. Okay, so sulfadoxine. Second thing is pyrimethamine, sulfadoxine, pyrimethamine. Okay, and the next thing is your artesunate. These are the drugs that we are going to use to treat your malaria. Okay, so guys, just have a look, just see if everybody is okay with this thing. Okay, and always remember, guys, this is the most important thing. Okay, very, very, very important thing from your board's point of view. Okay, so just once again, guys, have a look at the symptoms. Okay, just have a look at this, then we can move ahead. Okay, so guys, now the next thing that we are going to do, okay, we are going to talk about cancer. Okay, so let's try to see how is this cancer, what really happens out over there, and which is going to be bad, which is going to be like okay, like harmless for your body. Okay, so we will talk about all these types of cancers and how we can like really cure them. Okay, so let's try to see this thing. Okay, once again guys, when we talk about your cancer, okay, this is important from the board's point of view, generally asked for 4 marks. Okay, like explain the causes and types of cancers, or what is cancer, what are the types of cancers, and what are the different types. So this way, so it will always be combined that way. Okay, so let's try to see, like, first of all, what is your cancer, how it really happens, what really is going to be seen out over here. Okay, so now first of all guys, when we talk about cancer, what is this cancer? So always remember, sometimes what happens guys, there are going to be certain cells in your body who don't want to listen to your body at all. Okay, so they will be like, "Nahin, whatever the body says, it is not going to listen." These are going to be your rebellious cells. So these cells, they are actually going to be known as your cancerous cells. So what they do is guys, these cells, they undergo repeated cell division. We say they undergo uncontrolled cell division. Okay, and now guys, why this, what is going to happen? See, let's imagine guys, let's say this is your arm. Okay, so this is your hand, and let's say there is this one cell which is like continuously like not listening to the body. Now, what is the body going to do? See, guys, actually, if this cell doesn't listen to you at all, immediately this cell needs to be cleared off from the body. And that is how, actually the body system works. So you will see that, the body is immediately going to initiate a process called as apoptosis. And by that apoptosis, this cell is going to be killed. Okay, but now let's say this cell is a cancerous cell, it doesn't listen to the body at all. In that case, what is going to happen? You are going to see guys, this cell starts dividing, it starts multiplying rapidly. And as it starts multiplying rapidly, now this is going to form a ball or a mass of cells like this. And this is what, this is nothing but guys, this is going to be known as tumor. This is known as tumor. Okay, but now guys, see, when is this thing going to happen generally? Generally this takes place in the G0 phase of the cell. Guys, when the cells have like taken up some kind of specific function, they are doing their function, they are not undergoing cell division. But if we lose control in the G0 phase, then you are going to have this tumor. Okay, fine. But now guys, when we talk about this tumor, tumor can be of two types. Okay, now see, this tumor, okay, that whatever we are talking about, if it stays out over here, it is not going to cause a problem. So let's say the tumor stays out over here, you can take a knife and yeah, kachak, you have just removed this portion off. Congratulations, you have got rid of the cancer. Okay, but why? Because this was not moving, it was present at this place only, it did not cause any problem. Such kind of cancer guys, we call this thing as benign cancer or benign tumor. Okay, so basically this is harmless, the benign tumor is harmless, it remains at one place and doesn't move ahead anywhere. Okay, it remains at one place and does not spread at all. Okay, so this is going to be benign. Okay, this is harmless, guys. But now, see, you must have been always hearing, or usko cancer hai, and then after a few months, kachat. Guys, in that case, what are they suffering from? They are suffering from malignant cancer. Okay, now, guys, malignant means what? In this case, you are going to see that this one is the most harmful one. Why? Because the cells do not stay at one place. Here you're going to see that the cells, they move into the bloodstream. Okay, so they move along with the bloodstream. And now, guys, wherever it may go and lodge, there it is going to start a new cancer. Okay, the cells move along with the bloodstream. Okay, and now wherever the cell reaches, this is going to give rise to new cancer or new tumor. This is your malignant. And guys, this is the most deadly thing that we can ever say. So see, you must have seen that, people, they were suffering from cancer. And then once they were suffering, then what happened? They underwent the treatment and all. Then the cancer was cured. But then after some time, once again, the cancer came back. How does this happen? So what guys, while you are operating or while you're treating, you cannot see the cells. You are just thinking कि बाबा ये cell हो सकता है, and you are bringing about your this thing like your treatment. Now what happens? Let's say 99 of the cells they die. 99 cells have died. But if even one cell is still living, even one single cell, guys, that one single cell can once again give rise to an entire tumor. And once again, the same thing. Then that cell may spread to all the different parts, and no matter wherever it reaches, it is going to create new cancer. That is the problem, guys. This is a serious, serious, serious problem. Okay. So that way. So guys, this tumor, basically this entire, the tissue that is going to give rise to this, we call this thing as neoplasm. And neoplasm is the one which is going to give rise to tumor. This way. Okay. But now, guys, what happens? Okay. How is this malignant one going to be so deadly? And what really does it do? So, guys, this malignant one, it is going to work on two principles. So first is invasion, okay, and the second one is angiogenesis. Invasion and angiogenesis. Okay, so guys, what is invasion? So first, the cells, they are going to travel to different places, and even okay, so these are the cells, okay, which are cancerous cells. Okay, so these cancerous cells, they travel to new places, okay, or different places, and invade the normal cells. Okay. And on the other hand, what is this angiogenesis? So see, guys, let's imagine these cells, okay, they have like invaded some new particular territory. And now let's say they are growing like this. Okay. But now, guys, as the tumor is growing, as the cells are growing, now what is going to happen? See, these cells, they require nourishment, they require food, they require blood supply, they require oxygen, they need to remove of carbon dioxide. How is that going to happen? Because initially, see, let's say this was the initial cell. So the initial cell had supply of blood until here only. But now suddenly you have got this entire mass. Now, how is the requirement going to be developed? So, guys, now what happens is these cancerous cells, they are going to release certain factors because of which this is going to result into the division of these blood vessels. And guys, what is the division of this blood vessels called? This is called as angiogenesis. And these blood vessels now, they are going to travel deep into this thing, into the tissue. And now you're going to see that, oh, it is going to fulfill all the requirements. This is angiogenesis. Okay, so angiogenesis, guys, this stimulates new blood vessel formation. Inside the tumor. Okay, so this is how your malignant cancer is going to be dangerous. Now guys, until now until now there are going to be hundreds of different types of cancers that have been identified. Okay, however we have grouped all of them into five major types. Okay, but we have grouped them into five major types. Okay, so let's try to see what are the major types of your cancer and what really happens out over here. Okay, so let's try to see this thing. Okay, so one more thing, guys. So I'll just tell you. See, when these cells, they move from one place to another, and they are going to give rise to new cancer. This entire process we call this thing as metastasis. Okay, in your exams, especially in NEET, they will ask you what is metastasis. Oh. Okay, so now let's try to move ahead and let's try to see what are the different types of cancer. Okay, sure. Okay, so now guys, the first one that we are going to see, this is known as carcinoma. Okay, carcinoma. Now guys, always remember any agent which causes cancer is called as carcinogen. Okay, just keep this in mind. It is called as carcinogen. Okay, but now when we are talking about carcinoma, what is this going to affect? Okay, so guys, this is the one which affects the epithelial tissues. Okay, so especially the epithelial tissues lining the upper or the inner covering. Okay, so let's try to see. So it affects the epidermis generally. Okay, the epidermis of skin and organs. Okay, so basically the epithelial lining. And especially guys, what is this going to affect? This is going to affect your ectoderm, okay, or your endoderm. Okay, let's try to see. Okay, affects ectoderm or endoderm. Fine. But now guys, what is this going to result into? Like, what kind of cancers are we going to see? So guys, the best examples are breast cancer. Okay, we have breast cancer, we have lung cancer out over here. Okay, we have skin cancer. Okay, colon cancer, that is your intestine basically, colon cancer, or we have your stomach cancer. Okay, all these are going to be your carcinoma. Okay, remember carcinoma generally is going to affect the outer covering. Okay, outer covering of the skin, or it is going to affect the outer covering of your organs, or the inner covering or the inner lining of the organs. That is carcinoma. Okay, fine. Let's try to see the next one. Okay, now the next one, guys, we call this thing as sarcoma. Okay, sarcoma, sarcomere. Okay, tissues, right? Because we had said what is the smallest unit of the contraction unit? It is your sarcomere. So, guys, when we talk about sarcoma is nothing but it is the cancer of the connective tissue. Okay, so this affects connective tissues. Okay, but now guys, how is it going to be and what is it going to affect? So guys, this is going to affect different kinds of things. Okay, like it is going to affect the fats. Okay, the fats present in your body. See, connective tissue is what? It is going to be your adipose tissue. It can be your blood. Okay, it can be your cartilages. It can be your muscles. Okay, it can be your bones. Okay, so let's say we are talking about the fats. Okay, if it is going to happen to the fats, that is your adipose tissue, then we call this thing as liposarcoma. Okay, it becomes liposarcoma. Okay, let's say we are talking about the bones. If it happens to the bones, then what? We call this thing as osteosarcoma. Okay, let's try to see. If the same thing happens to the cartilages, then what? Then this is known as chondrosarcoma. Okay, chondrosarcoma. Okay, so like this. Okay, or for example your muscles. Okay, connective tissues, so muscles. So in your muscles, then this is going to be your myosarcoma. So this is nothing but your sarcoma. Always remember the clue out here is sarcoma, sarcomere, muscle connective tissue. Okay, so that way. Okay, then the next one, guys, next one, we have leukemia. Okay. Now, guys, when are you going to suffer from leukemia? Guys, this is the one which is going to affect your bone marrow. Okay. So, okay, this affects bone marrow. And now, guys, when we talked about this thing, you remember when we talked about your circulatory system, in that we had said, we had talked about this sudden increase in WBCs. Okay. It is your leukocytosis. But then there is a disease in which the same thing happens. That was your leukemia. So here, what is going to happen is you are going to have, because it affects the bone marrow, you are going to have excessively high, increased amounts of WBCs. You are going to see excessive amounts of your WBCs. Okay, and now what happens is, guys, because you are going to have excessive amounts of WBCs, these WBCs, they are formed really rapidly, because of which they are going to be immature. Okay, so mostly immature. And because they are immature, guys, can they really fight off infections? No, they cannot fight infections. That is the problem. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. Okay, but now in your leukemia also, guys, there are many types. Okay, so for example, we are going to have like monocytic leukemia. So it is going to affect the monocytes. Okay, so monocytic leukemia. Okay, so one, let's say it may affect the lymphocytes. So it is lymphoblastic leukemia. Okay, so lymphoblastic leukemia, and so on and so forth, guys. Okay, so this is how it is going to be with your leukemia. Okay, everybody all right with this? Fine. But now the next one, guys, on the same lines, we have your lymphoma. So now let's try to see what is this lymphoma and what happens. Okay, so next case. So we are having lymphoma. Okay, now as the name suggests, lymphatic system. So guys, what is this going to affect? As the name suggests, this affects the lymphatic system. Okay, and now guys, the moment you are affecting the lymphatic system, what is it going to target? Okay, this is going to target your lymphatic nodes. See, the lymph nodes basically, or your lymphatic nodes. So lymph nodes, or what else? It is going to occur into your spleen, or it can be also seen in your different tissues which are going to help in the production of your lymph. So for example, we have talked about your PS patches, we have talked about tonsils. Okay, so all these are nothing but your lymphatic system. Okay, so that is lymphoma. Okay, fine. And the last one out over here, we have adenoma. Okay, so adenoma, guys, this is the one which is going to be your, okay, this is going to be your glands. Okay, now but always remember, guys, adenoma, this can also be known as your adenocarcinoma. Okay, so there are two terms that are present. Some people would like to call this thing as adenocarcinoma. Okay, however, both the terms mean the same thing. With love, generally people like to call this as adenomas. Okay, but now what is this going to affect? Guys, this is going to affect your the glands, different glands, affects glands or glandular tissues. Okay, and now who is going to be affected? Guys, especially your hormone producing glands like your pituitary. Okay, so pituitary, or whether this is going to be your thyroid, okay, or whether this is your adrenal glands, etc., etc., etc. But then, this its target is your glands. That is for sure. Okay, so guys, these are the five different types of cancer, main types. But then the thing is, guys, how are you going to remember this? I always remember this as CS Lal. Okay, I remember it as CS Lal. You can come up with your own thing, but CS Lal is basically carcinoma, sarcoma, lymphoma, adenoma, and leukemia. So I remember it this way, guys. So this is CS Lal. Okay, fine. Chala, everybody all right with this thing, guys? Sure, no issues. Okay, just go through this. Then we have to see what are the different causes. Who is responsible for causing this cancer? Okay, chalo. If anybody has any doubts regarding this, guys? Oh, 1 minute, 1 minute. So, 1 minute. I have got some questions. Sir, cancer cells and tumor cells are the same? Yes, it is going to be your cancer cells. Yes, both of them mean the same thing. If angiogenesis didn't take place, would it then be benign cancer? No, it would still be your this thing like your malignant cancer only. However, in that case, that cancer, meaning that tumor, will just fall off if there is no blood supply. Okay. Next question is, sir, what is the point, that point where the where the chi, where है chi? I am not getting, like, where exactly are you talking about? Okay, what is that last point of what? I'm not getting it. Okay. Next question is, sir, there was this movie where a person had a bone marrow transplant due to which he was having two different DNA. Is this possible? Now, in bone marrow transplant, generally what we do is we are going to take bone marrow from a really close relative. Okay, like let's say it can be your brother, or it can be your sister or mother, father, something like that. And then we're going to put it into your body. However, see, when we do this bone marrow transplant, okay, so we have got the new bone marrow, but then that bone marrow is not going to give rise to cells of your entire body. So it is wrong to say that you will carry two different DNAs, because what happens is your skin cells, your the tissues, or the bone cells and all, they have already been formed. They have their own DNA, your original DNA. So no, it is not possible as such. Okay, but yes, if you take the cells from the bone marrow later on, maybe there will be a possibility that there are two different DNAs in that place. Rest all throughout your body, it is going to be only your one original DNA. Okay, monocytic leukemia is for what? Monocytic leukemia is for your monocyte. Okay, brain cancer comes under what? It comes under your carcinoma. Okay, because brain has developed from the nervous system itself, develops from your ectoderm. That is why. Are these malignant? Yes, whatever we are talking about here, these are the malignant ones. Okay, chalo. So now let's try to see what are the symptoms and what are the causes. Okay, so of this thing. Okay, okay, right. Hmm. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay, ठीक है, चलो. We'll just have a break, a little break out over here. 1 minute, but one moment, just a moment. Okay, chalo. So guys, now the next thing that we have to see is we have to talk about what are the symptoms, the signs and symptoms, and what are the causes. Okay, so let's try to see a few symptoms, guys. Like what really happens, goes on in your cancer. Okay, so now, guys, when we have this cancer, you are going to see some very discernible characteristics that are happening. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to experience is there is unexplained loss in body weight. Okay, unexplained loss in body weight. Okay, so suddenly, like you are going to see, without even doing any kind of exercises or any kind of dieting, 10-15 kg loss happening within a span of few months. Okay, so which is the most important cause of concern. Okay, next thing is, guys, if you are having tumor, sometimes the tumor can be felt through the skin. Okay, so they are going to act like they're going to appear as like nodules kind of thing. So some hardened masses and all. So that is going to be second thing. Okay, next, guys, you are also going to see that you may get skin cancers in this case. Okay, so when we talk about skin cancer, guys, what are we talking about? We are talking about melanoma. Okay, especially, guys, this melanoma, this is going to be very predominant in the Australian population. The reason for this is there is an ozone hole out over there. Okay, now today the ozone hole has recovered, and we are seeing that they have taken utmost measures so that the ozone layer is recovered. But still, in the earlier days, guys, this was like really rampant melanoma. Next thing, guys, You can also have oral cancers. Okay, oral cancer, guys. You are going to see, like, let's say, you have, like, pan parag, or you have that, tambaku, you have it, kya, gutka. Okay, and you have all that stuff. Okay, immediately, guys, over a period of time, what are you going to see? You, yes, Mukesh, absolutely right, Mukesh. Yeah, so you are going to see, guys, spots coming in the mouth. Okay, so spots in the mouth. Okay, and what you're going to see is, along with this, okay, so first it starts with, like, small spots coming on the mouth, and then ultimately it proceeds to white patches on the tongue. Okay, white patches on the tongue. Okay, this is it. Okay, then the next thing, guys, now you're going to see, let's see, this cancer, it can spread to different places, right? So, for example, guys, if you're looking at any kind of malignant cancer, that malignant cancer can spread to different parts. Okay, for example, let's say it goes to the brain. Immediately, you are going to suffer from brain cancer. Okay, so you can have brain cancer or brain tumor. Okay, but now, guys, what happens in brain cancer? You are going to see that immediately you have a lot of headache, unexplained headache. Along with that, suddenly you are going to get fits or seizures. Okay, or you can also get some convulsions. Okay, so seizures, fits, convulsions, they are almost the same thing. Okay. Now, guys, you know what? There is this one very famous scene. Okay. I don't know whether you have seen this or no. Okay. It's of Mithun Chakravarti. It's a movie, basically. So, what happens is, this guy, Mithun Chakravarti, he is, like, fighting all the goons, and, then there is, like, loads of, like, shooting and all happening out over there. Okay. And it happens so that, this guy, he has almost killed everybody, and one of the villains, okay, he just shoots him in the head. Okay, and this guy, Mithun Chakravarti, he falls down, and then the next scene is, like, he's in the hospital. Okay, and now the doctor comes, and the doctor is, like, about to brief the family, like, whether he is alive or whether he is dead. And suddenly he says that, oh, ये चमत्कार हो गया, गोली ने ब्रेन ट्यूमर उसका निकाल दिया. Okay, so guys, you will see all these kinds of, bullshit stuff happening in, Hindi movies, but remember, it doesn't happen so. Otherwise, tomorrow everybody would take a gun and, just shoot it into the brain, and no, tumor nikal gaya. Okay, it doesn't happen. Okay, sometimes, you should see Mithun Chakravarti's bloopers. Okay, so all that, funny things that they have done. In fact, there is in one movie, okay, Mithun Chakravarti, he's known for all these stuff, basically. There is one brain transplant that happens. Okay, brain transplant. And, guys, if you watch that scene, the scene is so hilarious. What they do is, they have taken the brain from the heroine. Okay, apparently Mithun Chakravarti, he is brain dead, he is in coma. Okay, so what does the doctor say? The doctor says, okay, let's do one thing, let's take the brain from the female and implant it into Mithun Chakravarti. Okay, and immediately the next scene, the scene is, like, they have taken the brain is kept on a tray. Okay, and that tray is kept in what, it's an oven. Okay, अपना OTG oven है ना, they have filled some ice in it, and ऐसे देखा है कि that is, like, one which is, like, storing all that like all the organs and all. Okay, and then he removes the brain, he puts the brain in Mithun Chakravarti, and after a few moments, okay, then he comes out and operation successful. Operation successful ho gaya. Okay, you should see that, it is damn fun. Okay, if you have time, guys, check for Mithun Chakravarti's film. Oh, amazing, amazing. It beats science. It's that way. Okay, and to tell you now what happens, the brain, basically, when it gets implanted into Mithun Chakravarti, the brain was a female's brain, right? Suddenly Mithun Chakravarti gets up, and then he is like, "Arey, ये क्या हो गया मेरे body के साथ? ये क्या हो गया मेरे body के साथ?" It is damn hilarious, damn hilarious. Anyways, chalo. Next day. Okay, now the same thing can happen in your lungs. The cells can enter into your lungs, right? But if they enter into the lungs, now what? Guys, you are going to have shortness of breath. Okay, because the lungs are going to be affected immediately. Immediately, you are going to have discomfort. Okay, and plus, guys, you are also going to ooze out blood. Okay, so etc etc etc. If things are going to be like really bad, guys, it can also land up into pneumonia. Okay, same thing. This can happen, and the cells can travel to the liver. It can also travel to the bones, etc etc etc, causing cancers at different places. That is what is going to happen. Chalo. But now, guys, let's see what are the causes. Okay, we are saying that okay, chalo, cancer, you are going to get cancer by some or the other way. But then, how are you really going to get it? What is the real cause? So let's try to find this thing one by one. What are the real causes of cancer? Okay, so now, guys, when we talk about the real causes, the agent that causes cancer, we call them as carcinogens. Okay, so generally the chemical things, we call them as your carcinogens. But then, who are we really talking about? What really happens? Let's try to see this. Okay, so now, guys, causes. Okay, so the first one, guys, we are going to have chemicals, and like I said, any agent which causes cancer, we call them as carcinogens. Okay, but now, guys, see, there are going to be different products. Okay, the different products, different things which give you cancer. So how are we going to know? Let's try to see a few products. So for example, guys, you can have nicotine. Okay, and nicotine, guys, where does this nicotine come from? This comes from your tobacco. Okay, so if you are into smoking, if you are into having tobacco, guys, so you have the chuna, you have the tobacco, you put it onto your palms, and then you go, yeah, kach, 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 kach. Then you slap like that, and then put it into your mouth. That is nothing but your nicotine, guys. So once again, that is going to give you that. Okay, along with this, guys, it can also be your caffeine. So sometimes excessive amounts of caffeine can also act as cancerous. Okay, caffeine. So matlab tea, coffee. Okay, always remember. Okay, apart from that, guys, you're also going to have like, certain gases, the gases which may come out of combustion of different substances, gases produced due to combustion of your coal. Okay, gases produced due to combustion of coal, or it can be your, different oils, or maybe your rubber, like especially your tires and all. Okay, so you must have seen that sometimes people, like, just to get rid of plastics and all, they burn the plastics, and that creates huge amounts of pollution. So that is really really bad actually, because it is going to release all those chemicals which can now enter into the atmosphere, and anybody who breathes into it may get that disease. Okay, that way. Okay, but now you can also see, like, if by any chance, okay, you are having excessive, okay, let's say for example you are a bodybuilder, okay, and now you are having excessive amounts of your hormones. Like for example, you have taken huge amounts of your steroids, or you're taken huge amounts of your testosterone. In that case, guys, you are going to see that you may have the chance of developing cancer. So for example, excessive hormones, whether it is your steroid hormones, okay, or whether it is going to be your sex hormones, okay, they may cause cancer. Okay, now, same way, guys, when we talk about, breast cancer, okay, breast cancer also seems to have been associated with, the release of these hormones. Okay, for example, what we have noticed is those females who avoid breastfeeding, okay, they seem to develop more amounts of breast cancer. Okay, so that way. So okay, so sorry, breast. Okay, who? Uh, I will just mention. Okay, so breast cancer. Okay, anyway, so this way, and guys, you know what? Generally, what happens, sometimes, okay, in fact, when you will go to the colleges and all, sometimes you will often see that, there are these, these, big, I can say buses and all, which give you free checkups on breast cancer and all. Okay, so like that, once what had happened, I was in Ruya. Okay, so just outside our this thing outside our college, there was this one NGO which had put up this kind of a bus, again, which was offering these breast cancer screening services. Okay, so what happened was, a few of my friends, okay, they were like, okay, okay, chalo, let's go and check out, how they do it, what happens out over there and all, because it was something very new. Okay, so the moment they went and they, knocked onto the, the bus, and the people, they opened up the door, they were like, what happened? So they were like, we have come here to, for checking for breast cancer. So the doctors who were there inside the bus, they were like, "Hey, no, 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 this is not for kids. Okay, it is only for people who are about 35 plus." Okay, so that way. So that was one very embarrassing situation that had happened out over there once. Anyways, chalo, guys, but now the next thing. Okay, so these were chemicals. Just like how we have chemicals, we have radiations. Guys, radiations are deadly. You have no clue what radiations can do, guys. And if you know, guys, UV radiation, this is like one of the most deadliest stuff ever. So I will tell you what happens. So, guys, when I was doing my PhD, okay, my entire work was on mutations. Okay, so I was using various kinds of mutagens. Okay, and like, I was using ethidium bromide, I was using ethyl methane sulfonate, acridin orange, UV radiations, all that stuff. So one fine day, what happened, guys? I was working with UV radiation and I was mutating my culture. Now, what happened? One fine day, I forgot to put off the UV light, and I was working in the UV light. Suddenly, one of my colleagues, she comes and she starts, banging onto the door. Tar, 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 tar. And I am like, I'm scared. I'm like, what happened? What happened? What is this urgency? She shows me that, oh, the UV light is on and you're working in the UV light. And guys, I know I was working in on this UV for a long time, guys. So I knew that, this UV is a potent mutagen. Okay, immediately you will see the effects. And I was like, oh my God, what has happened? Now what, guys? After that, I see how was the tube light was like, right on the top of my head. It was that way. Okay, so my hair, they were exposed to it. Now what happened was, guys, slowly for the next few days, I started observing my face, my hair, everything properly. Okay, and guys, you won't believe, within the next 1 week, I started seeing one very different colored hair on my head. Okay, so on my scalp, guys, there was one hair which was like, it was like, like copper colored. I have black hair, okay, but it was like, copper colored with like metallic sheen kind of thing. Okay, that was one hair which I never had it previously. And the second thing that happened was, guys, in my beard, okay, I have like, black beard basically. But then in one of this, like one of the hair, it started appearing goldenish. Okay, I don't have that golden color hair, but then suddenly it started coming off. So the moment I saw that, I knew that this was the effect of the UV thing, the UV episode. So guys, really, like, deadly stuff. Very scary. Okay, so always avoid, always avoid UV radiations. But I'm damn sure, some of you females must be used to it. Okay, for example, you guys must be going to the nail parlor and all, nail parlor. uh, s- we go, they apply nail paints and all, they give you a pedicure, manicure, right? That thing we are talking about, guys. Okay, so after they apply that, nail paint and all, so that the nail paint should, like, what do we say, that it should harden faster, or dry fast. Okay, so what they do is they ask you to put your nail, I mean, in that UV chamber. Okay, so once again, guys, remember that is not really good for your body, because you are purposely exposing yourself to your UV radiation, so which is not really warranted as such. Anyways, so when we talk about radiation, guys, what are the different types of radiations? One of the most important are your UV radiations, deadly, deadly, deadly stuff. Second thing, guys, we have X-rays. Okay. Now we don't have much time. Otherwise, I would have told you like stories on X-rays and gamma rays and all that stuff. Okay. But we have X-rays. Now just keep it in mind, guys. These X-rays, they have the ability to knock off your genes. Okay. So this has the ability to mutate your DNA. Today, what your DNA is, let's say you do a DNA fingerprinting. So I'll just show you. Okay, so let's say you have taken this agarose gel and then you have done this DNA fingerprinting. Let's say you have got these as the bands of your DNA. Let's say I'm subjecting you to X-rays, and then after that I do your once again DNA fingerprinting. You may see that this entire pattern changes. This is also possible, guys. Okay, there are many cases which have happened because of this kind of thing. Okay, anyways, so guys, we have X-rays. Apart from X-rays, guys, we are going to have your gamma rays. Okay, generally gamma rays, they are not that powerful as such in mutation. Okay, but then a little chance, yes, as it is, then we have cosmic rays. Okay, fine. So these are some of the radiations that are generally going to cause problems. Fine. Next thing, we have viruses. Okay, so now guys, viruses like what? Who are the ones who are going to give you cancers? See, viruses, they have certain genes called as viral oncogenes. Okay, and because of this, they will give you cancer. Okay, the viruses they contain. Okay, now not all, huh? Some of them I'm saying, huh? They contain viral oncogenes. Guys, whenever we talk about oncology, oncogenes, it means onco means cancer, something related to cancer. Okay, so guys, we call this thing as VONC genes. Okay, so V onco genes. This is how we denote it. Okay, but now, guys, these viruses, okay, who are able to cause this disease? Who are they? So, guys, we have HPV, human papilloma virus. Okay, let me just papilloma virus. Guys, what is this responsible for HPV? This is responsible for cervical cancer. Guys, in your females, in the uterus, we have this cervix, right? So see, we have the uterus, that's okay. We have the cervix, and then we have the vagina. Guys, this is the one which causes cervical cancer. Okay, and this cervical cancer is deadly. This results into the death of the person. So for detection of this HPV, guys, we have a test which is called as pap smear test. That pap smear test will let you know whether you are infected or no. Okay, females who are generally in the 50s and the 60s, they need to do this thing to make sure they don't suffer from cervical cancer. Okay, the next one out over here, we have EBV. EBV is your Epstein-Barr virus. Okay, once again, really, really deadly one. Okay, so this way, so we have these two as your important viruses. Okay, next thing, guys, we are going to have oncogenes. So see, these were your viral oncogenes or V oncogenes, but just like that, we have your normal oncogenes as well. Okay, these are going to be present in all the things. Okay, so what do we call these things? These are known as cellular oncogenes. Okay, or just C ONC genes. Okay. Now, guys, what happens is, see, sometimes you have either cellular oncogenes or you have something that are called as proto-oncogenes. Now, what do I mean by proto-oncogenes? Guys, these are the ones, these, what happens is, these genes under normal circumstances, they are not going to be, active in the body. But because there is some kind of a trigger, these proto-oncogenes, they convert into oncogenes and immediately leads to your cancer. So that way. So these are the two types of genes that can cause you cancer. And finally, guys, one of the worst causes ever is your addiction. Okay. And addiction to, different kinds of your substances. So substance abuse, whether it is smoking, whether it is alcohol, tobacco. Okay. So smoking, chewing tobacco. Okay, or for example, you are having, huge amounts of alcohol, so this is immediately going to affect the liver. Okay, so liver, the stomach, the intestines, esophagus, all these things. Also, guys, if you are into drugs, like, charas, ganja, hafim, ashish, methamphetamines, okay, all these things, ultimately, what is this going to result into? This is going to result into your addiction will result into your cancer. Okay, but now, guys, let's try to see how does this thing really happen. How are you going to get addicted to something? I'm damn sure, guys, you must have been addicted to some or the other thing. It must have happened. It may not have been a big addiction that, it caused a real problem, but small things. tell you, one of the biggest addictions that I have ever faced in my life was usage of nasal spray or Trivin. Guys, really deadly stuff. Deadly stuff. Then I'll tell you my experience, guys. When I was, uh while I was doing my PhD, I remember it was the year 2013, 2014. Guys, what happened was, Otrivin had just launched out over there, and they were saying that, it is a normal spray, just take it, just like that. So what I did was, I just bought one of the sprays, and actually, it was introduced to me by one of my aunts. Okay, and she had told me that, oh my God, this spray is lovely. Just try, take this spray and see, you will love it. Okay, and I was like, okay, take it. I just, had two puffs, puffs in one, in either of the nostrils, and guys, you wouldn't believe, my nose felt so much better. I thought, oh my God, until this time, I was not breathing at all, meaning it cleared up all the things, all the blockages, everything, and I could breathe properly. And oh my God, I was so amazed. Okay, slowly I was like, okay, okay, I will try this product. So I went, I bought one bottle of Otriven. Okay, and now what, guys, whenever I used to feel that, oh, I cannot breathe properly or thoda sa blockage hai, immediately I used to take some puffs. Okay, immediately I used to enjoy that feeling that, I am able to breathe properly, with my entire nose, completely open. Slowly, guys, what happened? Within a year, my addiction became so much that, I was taking Otrivin after every, 30 minutes or so. After every 30, 45 minutes, the moment I used to feel that, oh, thoda sa barabar nahi, chalo, fast, and I'm taking Otrivin. Guys, the situation went so bad that earlier I used to use one bottle in one day. I was using around 12 to 13 bottles. I mean, one bottle per month. Okay, then it is raised to 12 to 13 bottles per month, guys. It was so much. At that time, I knew that, I had to take help and I had to, get myself checked. But, guys, you know what? The feeling was so amazing that, whenever I used to pump in the water, when full, ekdam clear nose. Okay, but then what happened is immediately I went to my ENT and I told her that, this is the thing, this has happened. So she checked. She checked my, and what happens, guys, over a period of time. See, today, if one puff does you the job, after a few days, one puff will not do anything because now your body has got used to it. Now your body needs more. So the one puff which I was taking, now it started moving on to like three puffs at a time, four puffs at a time. Okay. So that way. Now when I went to the ENT, so she checked my nose, and the first thing she says, Mithun, आता खूप वेळ झाला. And I was like, what? आता को वेळ झाला मतलब क्या? Immediately, that entire, picture वाला scene, it started happening in front of my eyes. कि अभी अभी मेरे पास बहुत कम वक्त बचा है. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't do any, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, I don't do any drugs, I don't do anything. और when you're saying कि, अभी बहुत late हो गया. So she said, no, 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 no. What I mean is like, the terminals in your nose, they have hardened. Okay. They have turned bluish and they have hardened. But you have come to me at the right time. Right now, if you stop the usage of Otrivin, then what will happen is your terminals will once again come back to normal, and then you can have normal this thing. If you continue with your spray, then you never know what can happen. Then after that, guys, that was the day, and until now I have never touched Otrivin. I was so scared when she said that, Baba, uske baad mein tata bye bye. But guys, always remember, whenever there is addiction, addiction starts like this only. When someone is going to offer you the first thing for free, when you have to smoke, your friend will offer you a cigarette. Arey peena, 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 puff marna, kya farak padta hai? No, that is how it spreads. Once you have taken the first puff, now you're going to be hooked onto it for the rest of your life. That way. Same thing with your drugs, same thing with alcohol, same thing with any kind of your addictive drugs, guys. Yes, Himanshu, you wish to ask something? Himanshu? Okay. So, guys, that is how. Okay. So, that way. So, how did I overcome? It was the only thing that, see, I had to choose either life or, either life or, you continue to do that. So, I chose life. But it may not be the same with everybody. Some people may not be so strong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. The other thing is like the same is with cough syrups as well. Yes, absolutely. Guys, you know what? Benadryl, okay. Some people, after they have Benadryl, suddenly they get a very high, a different kind of a feeling. So yes, whatever Himanshu is saying is the same thing, guys. Okay. So it happens that way. Anyways, so like that. Yeah. Then why are we then addicted to smells? Addicted to smells, like I don't get it. Like, you are talking about what smell? Petrol smells? No, 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 no. See, you are not addicted to petrol smells. Okay, yes, yes, there are addictions. Okay, that is like, really deadly level addictions where, people, they keep on smelling into petrol. Okay, smelling into petrol, smelling into diesel also produces a high. Okay, those laborers and all daily wage workers who cannot do any nasha of that sort, they do that, guys. They will put petrol, then diesel, then nail paints, then whiteners, guys. They will put it into a bottle and they will suck onto the fumes. So that is also there. But I don't think so you guys would be ever sanitizer. I am not so sure with sanitizers. I haven't seen it, but I have seen people doing this thing, like, petrol ka fumes or whitener ka fumes, especially whitener. They add two, three chemicals in whitener and they keep on smelling. I don't know what, but then suddenly the kids are like high, really, really high. Anyways, so that way. So guys, always remember, learn to say no. Okay, because if you say yes to your friends for just like that, ye bhi karte, wo bhi karte, then you are gone for the rest of your life. Okay, so love your life. Don't say yes to any kind of your drugs. Okay, always say no. Chal. There was a case of Kamlesh. It went famous for whitener. Okay, okay. Kamlesh, I have no idea, but acha acha acha, Kamlesh. Hey, Kamlesh, Kamlesh, oh, dug 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 dug. How did you come here? Dug 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 dug. Something of that sort, guys. I think I have. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. I had also seen this video. Acha. Okay, 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 okay. Chalo. Yeah. Camper. Someone is saying, let me just see. Camper, there is new car product that uses camphor for fragrance. Okay, maybe, maybe. Yeah. I have seen people keeping camphor in a box and then keeping it into the car. It gives a nice, smell. So that is also there. Okay, chalo, chalo. But now, guys, let's get back. So the next thing is like, guys, if we are talking about cancer, now how can we cure cancer? Is there a cure or is there a treatment? Now, guys, cure can be there. Okay, but then it is not always 100% sure that there is going to be cure kind of thing. Okay, but then we have a treatment. Okay, so what is the treatment? Let's try to see. So okay, so now guys, when we talk about treatment, one of the most important treatments, okay, that you will ever come across, guys, that is nothing but your chemotherapy. Okay, you must have always, thought that, oh, chemotherapy, chemotherapy. Okay, matlab, if someone is taking chemotherapy, he is suffering from cancer. Guys, remember, chemotherapy is a general term. Whenever you have any kind of drugs, okay, whenever you are taking any kind of drug, it is known as chemotherapy. Now, what we have done is we have started associating chemotherapy with your cancer. So, whenever somebody says, or chemotherapy, matlab isko cancer. So, that way. Okay, but now what is this chemotherapy going to do? Guys, chemotherapy, this makes use of like high value, okay, high value or highly potent anti-cancer drugs. Okay, this is going to make use of high value or high potent anti-cancer drugs. Okay, and now guys, what are these drugs going to do? These drugs, they are going to target the cancerous cells. Okay, they are going to target the cancer cells and prevent prevent their multiplication. Okay, and prevent cell division. That is what they will try to do. Okay, okay, how is it going to do? They are going to block the DNA synthesis. They are going to block some some ion channels, or they are going to block some protein synthesis some way or the other. However, now what is going to happen is you are going to see that whenever we have this chemotherapy, remember, because you are taking so much amount of drugs, like you are excessively like exposing yourself to high potent drugs, you are going to have loads of side effects. Okay? So you're going to see loads of side effects. But now, what side effects are we talking about, guys? You are going to have hair fall. Okay, you may even lose your complete hair. Okay, so you are going to experience large amounts of hair fall. You are going to experience anemia. You are also going to experience swelling. Okay, swelling in different parts of the body. So all these things are going to happen, guys. Okay, so this is like chemotherapy, and plus along with this your nausea, vomiting, headache, sometimes fever, all those things are going to be supplemented. Second important thing, guys, we have radiotherapy. Okay, now radiotherapy means what, guys? Here you are going to use radiation. Okay, now generally what happens in your radiation therapy or radiotherapy? Always remember, this is used in combination with chemotherapy. Okay, to get the best results out. Okay, so now here what are we going to see? See, in radiation therapy or radiotherapy, what are we going to do? Let's say you have, let's say this is, you know, the radiation bulb. Okay, let's imagine. Okay, and here this is your skin and these are the cancer cells. Guys, what is your aim? Your aim is to direct the radiations directly at that point where you're going to have the cancerous cells, and then you are going to kill them, with the rays. That is the idea. But now, guys, which are the different kinds of materials that we are going to use out over here? Which things that we can use, the radioactive elements. So you can use radioactive elements like, okay, radioactive elements such as your cobalt. Okay, so we have cobalt, we have iridium. Okay, guys, this iridium is very, very important. Okay, to treat your like thyroid cancers and all, we use iodine. Okay, all the radioactive elements. Okay, not the normal elements. Okay, sometimes, guys, you are also going to use X-rays or gamma rays. Okay, so also we can use X-rays. We can also make use of gamma rays. Now, I told you gamma rays, generally we also use these for storing your potatoes, guys, because the potatoes should not show sprouting. We subject them to gamma radiations and then we store them. Okay, so that way. Or you can also make use of some charged particles, guys. You can make use of some charged particles and then you can just bombard it onto the body. But then, see, once again, guys, whenever you are going to bombard it onto the body, okay, see, it is not always going to be 100% sure that you are going to target the cancerous cells only, right? So in that case, what may happen, even those cells, like even those cells which are normal cells, they may be affected, and then what, they may also die. So there is side effect chances out over here, in fact huge side effect chances out over here. Okay, so like that. So that is your radiation therapy. Sir, is there a radiation treatment? Yes, this is the radiation treatment only. Sir, the do like they do with the kidney stones in surgery, can we do it with cancer cells? Not exactly like that, but yes, on the same lines, we can try to do it that way. Okay, so yes, so like how we do it in kidney stones is like, you are going to bombard it with your lasers kind of thing, and you're going to break it down into smaller pieces. Okay, so that those kidney stones can now come out through your urine. But then here, in your cancer, the precision has to be really, really high, because what happens is there are so many cells involved out over here that if you miss the target, then the normal cells would die, the cancerous cells will still continue to live. So that way. But sir, cells are not visible with naked eyes. How can we locate them with machines? So what happens is, see, whenever we are going to do this radiotherapy or any therapy, we always make sure first we check where is the location. How do we know? Because we are going to give you certain dyes. Those dyes are going to enter into your body, and because the cancerous cells, they are going to be like fast reproducing, or they are like highly active cells, they are going to pick up the dyes and they are going to utilize it. So now what happens is immediately you come to know where the dye is being concentrated or where the dye seems to be more. You are going to know that, oh, the cancerous cells are present at that place. Yes, that. Yeah, very nice. Yes, yes, absolutely right. Okay, so that is your radiation therapy. Okay, next thing that we are going to have, this is the most sought after, guys. You are going to have surgery. Okay, so wherever you are going to have the thing, the cancer cells, you're just going to take, a knife, scalpel, you just remove it, so that you can remove majority of the cancer. Okay, so that way. So that is surgery. Next one we have in the same lines, immunotherapy. Okay, so now in immunotherapy, guys, what are we going to do? Guys, we are going to give like, alpha interferons. Okay, we are going to give these kinds of, compounds. Okay, compound meaning basically which is going to be your immune modulator. We call them as immune modulators. Okay, So what they do is they are going to help you identify the cancerous cells easily. Okay, helps identify and kill the cancerous cells. That is your immunotherapy, guys. Okay, see, mainly why was your cancer happening? Because the body could not kill the cells. So here we'll go for immunotherapy by taking these immune modulators, which are going to make sure that if by any chance there are cancerous cells, then they are going to be identified and then they are going to be killed. And finally, guys, the last thing that we are going to have, okay, we are going to have supportive therapy. Now, what is this supportive therapy? Now, let's say, a person who's been diagnosed with cancer. Okay. Let's say, so, uh, like, let's say the person is feeling ill, the person is not doing good, the person is feeling low. Now, in such a situation, guys, are you going to go to that person and you're going to say, अरे तेरे को क्या हो गया? कैंसर हो गया. अरे मतलब अभी तू मरने वाला है. So, guys, you don't have, these kinds of conversation with those people. Okay, so you're not going to demotivate them, or you're not going to ask them, हाँ तो डॉक्टर ने कितना महीना बोला है अभी. Okay, so guys, in this kind of a situation, a supportive therapy means what? You are going to try to boost the morale. Okay, like try to boost the morale of the person. Also, you're going to make him feel more positive towards the entire situation. Plus, along with this, if the person is suffering from any kind of symptoms of the cancers or treatment symptoms, you are going to make sure that he is going to be given medications so that all these symptoms are going to be elevated. Okay, elevated meaning it is reduced. Okay, not elevated. Okay, so guys, the only objective of this thing, okay, this entire supportive therapy is to improve the quality of the life of the person. Okay, so improve the quality of life of cancer patient. That way, that is it, guys. That is your supportive therapy. So this is all what we hear. Sir, isn't there a group of people who with cancer, they sit together? Yes, 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 it happens. Okay, so there are going to be all these groups and all. So I don't remember what these groups are. Generally we have these kinds of groups for addiction. Okay, so it's a rehab kind of a thing. Alcoholics Anonymous and all. So I don't really recollect what these group names are called, but then yes, you have these groups and all, where people say they talk about their experiences and all. So that way. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, now guys, one more thing that I have done. Okay, I have taken one picture, okay, from your textbook. Okay, I want you to go through this thing. This talks about like different types of your carcinogens that are present and what is their target organ. Okay, so this I have like picked it up from your textbook only, guys. Okay, so we have, and guys, why is this important? Not from your board's point of view, but from your neat point of view. This is very important. Okay, because they will ask you questions on this thing. Okay, so we have soot, skin, lungs. Okay, coal tar, skin, lungs. Once again, cigarette smoke, lungs, cadmium oxide, prostate. Okay, so this is also very important, guys. Keep this thing in mind: cadmium oxide. Okay, aflatoxin, liver, naphthylamine, and aminobiphenyl, urinary bladder, mustard gas, lungs, nickel, chromium compounds, lungs. Once again, asbestos, guys. Once again, with regards to this table. Yes, this table is there in the textbook. That is what I told you. I have picked this thing up from the textbook itself. Okay, guys, this asbestos is also very important. Okay, this is asbestosis. Okay, this results into asbestosis. Okay, so just remember this thing. Okay, and then we have the others also: vinyl chloride and diethyl stilbestrol. Okay, sure. So this is what we need to know with regards to your entire cancer, guys. Okay, so just have a look, just see if everybody is okay with this thing. Okay, just have a look from here, and then we can move ahead with the next part. These carcinogens are in the air we breathe, or these happen to specific people working with that product. Now, see what happens is carcinogens are present all throughout your entire atmosphere. See, even when you go, okay, in your car, let's say you're stranded at a signal. Now, at a signal, what is happening? So many cars are like stranded out over there, and they are still running their engines. From their exhaust, you're going to see a combination of different gases, right? But what do? You are breathing into it only, right? So many times we are going to see that people burn, like, garbage. People burn plastics, tires, right in the open air, once again releasing carcinogens in the air. So you may never know what carcinogen you are going to be breathing and how it is really going to affect you. So we don't know that. Okay, so just have a look, guys, everyone. Our immunity strength defines whether we are going to suffer from any cancer. Yes, even that is an important factor. Okay, chalo. So let's try to move ahead, guys. Just see once this entire table and then we'll move ahead. Okay, chalo. So guys, let's try to move ahead and let's try to see the next one. The next one we are going to talk about is AIDS. Okay, so once again, one of the most deadliest diseases out over there. Been over here for almost 30 plus years. Okay, first incidence of AIDS was found in 1986. Now it is, say, 1986, 1996, 2006, 2016, and 2021. So since 35 years, this disease is there. However, we still haven't got control of it. We don't have a proper cure for this disease. Okay. However, what have we come up? We have come up with different kinds of treatment to prolong your life, to not pass the disease to any other. But then still we haven't got a cure for it. Okay. And this is what we need to know basically with your age. So let's try to see what is this age, what really happens out over there. So guys, when we talk about age, what is the full form first? Okay, so this is your acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Okay, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Okay, now guys, what happens is sometimes some of you guys may be tempted to say acquired immuno. Remember, it is not immuno, it is immune. Okay, get this thing right. But now, who's the causative agent for this thing? Who causes this thing? So the causative agent for this AIDS is your virus. And what is this virus, guys? We call this thing as the HIV. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, so here, see, here it is immuno. Okay, so here, first immune, here immuno. But now, guys, when we talk about this virus, like, what is this virus? How is it going to be? Like, what really happens out over here? Like, how do you get this disease in the first place? Okay, fine. Chalo. So, guys, what are we going to see is we are going to see several methods by which this is going to be transmitted. Okay, so let's try to figure this thing. So when we talk about transmission, guys, how are you going to transmit? Like AIDS from one person to another. So, guys, the most important source is your blood because the virus is going to be present in your blood. So, if you are infected and by some or the other way you are giving your blood to the other person, then yes, you are going to get it. Okay. Second thing, guys. Okay. Uh, I'll just talk about 1 minute. Okay. So these are the places the virus is found in, basically. Okay, so basically that way, guys. Okay, so it is going to be found in the blood. Second thing, guys, now you are going to see it in the saliva, but actually it is not present in the saliva. But your textbook proclaims that it is seen in the saliva, but not generally. Okay, so keep this thing in mind. This is not really right for the time being. Okay, it is not present in the saliva, but your textbook is mentioning it that yes, you have to have it out over there. Okay, now what happens, I'll tell you. Now there has been only a couple of cases where a person has has smooshed a person with AIDS, and then the other person also got AIDS. But then there are many different small things with regards to that, how it must have happened. So guys, see, sometimes there is a possibility that your gums may be bleeding. Okay, so gums may be bleeding, so you are oozing out blood. Blood contains the virus, and if the other person kisses you, then what? Along with that, along with your saliva, the blood is also going to get transmitted into the other person. So in that way, the virus may have been transmitted. Okay, but generally we don't see it in your saliva. Okay, so keep that in mind. But then we are going to see it in your tears. Yes, it is going to be present out over there. And then we have it in your semen. Okay, so all your body fluids, especially, guys. Okay, so whether it is your semen, whether it is your vaginal secretions, okay, whether it is vaginal secretions or whether it is your anal secretions. Okay, finally, guys, you also see this thing in breast milk. However, today we have medicines which are going to prevent the transfer of virus through breast milk. That is how it is going to be. But now, once again, guys, like I said, we are talking about transmission. So, how is this transmission really going to happen? Let's figure this thing out. Okay. So, guys, first of all, like I said, okay, you are going to have blood. So, it is going to be via your blood transfusions. Okay. So, if you have taken your blood and you have given it to someone else, and if your blood was infected, okay, then the other person is also going to get the disease. So that is through blood transfusions. But now, guys, one of the most important source of AIDS is having unprotected sexual intercourse. Okay, unprotected sexual intercourse. Guys, what does this mean? This means that you are going to not make use of any contraceptives, like you're not going to use any condoms, or maybe even your female diaphragms, and still you're going to take the risk of, like, having unprotected sexual intercourse. That is going to be, see guys, what happens, see, let me just complete this point, then I'll unprotected sexual intercourse with an infected person. Okay. So now what happens now? See, in India, as of now, you don't have this kind of a culture where there is, open sex or open intercourse kind of thing. But if you go to the Western countries, you go to the US, you go to the UK and all, there what happens is people meet in the bar and all, and then they have intercourse. Okay. So afterwards, later on, they have intercourse. Now, guys, you don't know how the other person is, and it is really really risky, because what you never know how many people the other person may have been with. And that is the case, we also don't know what are the different diseases that the person may be suffering. AIDS is one of them. There are other sexually transmitted diseases as well. So, guys, in that situation, not using a protection, not using condoms is going to be absolute foolishness. In the first place, you should not do this only, because what is intercourse? Intercourse is something which is like really really a beautiful thing. Okay, like when two people who love one another, they have intercourse, that is like a deep meaning to it. But then if you are just having sex with a random people, it is nothing but it is just like having exercise, like it is just like having push-ups. So uh, you know first of all, you should avoid multiple partners. Okay, and if you are having, let's say you're hell bent on having multiple partners, it should always be with your proper contraceptives. Anyways, but now guys, whatever, whether it is your vaginal sex, whether this is oral sex, or whether it is anal sex, guys, no matter what, okay, you need to use protection. Otherwise, there are high chances you're going to suffer from AIDS. Okay. Other thing is, like, see, we have blood transfusions, same way we have your organ transplantations, okay, or organ transplants. Let's say the person who was suffering from AIDS had his organ transplanted into someone else. Then what? Yes, once again, the same thing, organ transplant. Okay, breastfeeding as well. But these days we have medicines which are going to put an end to this thing. So breastfeeding. Next, knives. So for example, guys, you have knives, blades, syringes, okay, for example, scissors, needles, etc., etc., etc. Guys, if by any chance you are sharing any of these, and any of these has blood from an infected person, and that blood enters into your body, immediately you are going to get the disease. Okay, and I'll tell you one very important thing, guys. Okay, one very important thing that had happened a few years ago. So, there was a case, I don't know where it was, but there were two school going children, okay, two school going, sisters basically. So, like, from fourth standard and fifth standard. So suddenly one fine day, their like entire health deteriorated, and then they were taken to the hospital, and then they were screened, and they found out that both these sisters, they were suffering from AIDS. Okay, so now they started to, the parents were free of AIDS, and the kids are having AIDS. So there was an investigation which was launched. Okay, now what happened was, it was found out that these females, they used to go to a chat center. Okay, chat center is basically wo pani puri bel puri wala. Okay, so what had happened was, once once upon a time, this chat vendor, okay, he was cutting onions, and while he was cutting onions, he happened to cut his finger. Okay, and now what? While, so I mean, little bit of, like, nooks and scratches, we don't generally look at it. But guys, this guy, he was handling onion, so all his blood, it fell on the onion. And now when he made the chart, he used the onion with his blood. When these female had it, these female immediately had it. He made it in front of them, he just gave it. These females, they had it, and immediately they suffered from the contraction of the disease. So guys, you have to be very, very careful, especially while eating at these, roadside stalls and all. Make sure that the hands of the people are, like, free of cuts and all. Otherwise, you may never know, you may be taken for an entire ride, guys, for the rest of your life. Okay, this is a very, very serious kind of thing. Okay, what if you use the same onion to everyone? Will everyone get infected? No. How it is, see, the AIDS virus cannot stay long, okay, in the environment. Okay, so it has to get into the host as soon as possible. It has been estimated that even 1 minute of delay, it renders the AIDS virus harmless that way. So if it is used immediately and immediately the other person has it, then definitely it will have an effect. But if the it has been lying for around, like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then the virus does not have this efficacy. Sir, if they could have heated it in the oven and eaten, then it won't cause any problem. No, if the virus stays outside for more time, it does not cause any problem. But see, when you are having, bhel puri, let's imagine you are having bhel puri, who's going to heat it in the oven? You are having shev puri, who's going to heat it in the oven? I don't think so anybody does that, unless and until you are not having that, shev puri sandwich. Okay, which comes like, there is something called a shev puri sandwich, which is like, toasted and that. Other stuff, yes, other stuff. But then, guys, why would you have somebody else's blood in the first place? Yeah. So, so rather you throw away that stuff. That is more better, that is more hygienic, and that is more safe also. Okay, same thing, guys, with your knives. Okay, so you are using a knife and you suddenly got, scratched, and the same knife gives a cut to another person. Okay, even that is going to help in transfer of your your disease. Okay, another thing is your syringes. Now, guys, I'll tell you one thing that had happened. Okay, once my granny was, like, ill. Okay, and the doctor had come to visit her. So now what happened, the doctor gave her an injection, and he just took the injection and he gave it to me and told me to dispose it off. Okay, so I was like, okay, chalo, mere haath mein injection hai, syringe hai, I have this nice needle and all. And I was playing, and suddenly while playing, kachak, that needle went into my finger. And now I just removed it and I was scared because now I had started bleeding. And I was thinking that, oh my God, abhi AIDS ho jayega, abhi AIDS ho jayega. Oh shit, I was so scared, so scared. My brother, he asked me, like, what happened? So, and I was very naive. I was like, in fourth standard, fifth standard at that time. So we did not have the entire knowledge how AIDS spreads and all. We just know that kisi ka blood apne andar gaya, okay, to AIDS ho jayega. Okay. So my brother, he explained out to me, no, it doesn't work like that. If the original person has AIDS, then only you are going to get AIDS. Na? Otherwise, you're not going to get AIDS. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind. Okay. Guys, if the first person has AIDS, then only the other person will get it. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, if you have syringe cut or a knife cut, nothing is going to happen. So be a little, aware of these things. Okay, but no matter what, guys, no matter what, whenever we talk about this AIDS virus, what is the AIDS virus going to do? So the AIDS virus, its entire idea is to attack the immune system. Okay, it attacks the immune system and it lowers its efficiency. Okay, so it lowers its efficiency, and we will talk about this thing in a little while, like, which are the cells and all. And mostly what it does is, guys, it attacks the lymphocytes and multiplies in them. That is what is going to happen, guys. Okay, so this is what we need to know with regards to the initial thing. Okay, but now let's try to see the next thing, guys. Okay, so we are saying that okay, chalo, we have this thing, but how is this AIDS going to be spread? How is it going to be detected? What really happens out over there? Okay, chalo, so let's try to see. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. So, uh, no, it just happened that way that, that while he was cutting, suddenly his, blood oozed out onto this thing. In fact, I had also been in similar kind of a situation. Okay. So once I was having chat, and I have been having chat like, from roadside places, over and over again. So it is a very common thing. But now, guys, and this time, I was in my PhDs while I was doing it. And right in front of me, I was like, I was standing out over there and I had asked for a bhel puri. Okay. So this guy, he was like, cutting onion and suddenly he happened to cut his finger. Now, suddenly, now, guys, I had already paid this guy. Okay. That time, I guess it was like, 20, 25 rupees a plate. Okay. I had already paid this guy. Okay. And and along with me, there were two other people who were like standing out over there, one guy and one girl. Okay. And the moment I saw him, he cut his finger and little bit of that, blood fell on the onion. He took that onion and he just threw it away. And once again, he started cutting the onion. Okay. And now I was like, oh my God, I am scared because I knew about this case that had happened about these two sisters. Okay. I was like कि नहीं बाबा मेरे को खाने का ही नहीं है. Immediately I told him कि देखो बाबा तेरा खून गिर गया है. I don't want to have it. You give me my money. You give me my money. You refund me my money. He was like no 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 I can't give you. नहीं अभी तूने तो पैसा दिया है, अभी you have it. मैं बोला मेरे को खाने का ही नहीं है. तू पैसा रख तेरे पास ही. मेरे को खाना ही नहीं है. Okay. Now I went away from there. Okay, guys. But those two people, they still stood out over there and they still had that chat because I was keeping an eye on them. I tried to alert them, but they did not listen to it. But it happens, guys. Okay, guys. In some cases, your money is not important. Your life is much, much more important, much more valuable. So make the right decision always, guys. Okay. Anyways, yes, yes. Actually, I have loads of experiences, loads of this thing. It's only because of these, like these online lectures that I can't see you guys, and I actually you guys don't keep your cameras on also. So there is a little bit of discord out over there. Had it been that the cameras are on and we are like still talking and all, you know, so then that would give me like ample amounts of chances to talk about different kinds of experiences, different kinds of examples, so that way. But anyways, chalo, anyways, let it be. Yeah. So next thing, guys. Okay, so now we said that okay, this is going to be transmitted, okay, by blood, this, that. Okay, so we talked about all these things, but at the same time, we should know that the virus is not transmitted by. So let me just put this thing down. So virus is not transmitted, okay, by first sharing food. Okay, so whether it is sharing food, okay, whether it is sharing your drinks, sharing clothes, okay, or even shaking hands or touching by just normal touch, guys, you are not going to be like transferring the disease. Okay, or even for that matter, even if you are kissing, okay, then also you will not generally transfer the disease. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. But now, guys, how is this AIDS really going to progress? Like, how will it happen? Okay, so let's try to see this thing. Okay, so now, guys, when we talk about your progression of AIDS, there are two types of things basically. Like, I'll just talk about this thing. Okay. Okay. So now basically we have those who are going to be showing you symptoms and the others who are not going to be showing you symptoms. So basically you are symptomatic and then there are asymptomatic ones. Okay, so let's try to see how it works. So the guys, the first step of this infection is you are going to have acute infection, meaning you have just contracted the disease, maybe because you have had unprotected sex. Okay, so you have contracted the virus. Okay, but now the moment the virus is has entered into your body, immediately it cannot be detected, guys. Okay, so today you have had unprotected intercourse, and tomorrow you go to the doctor and you say, I want to do a test for AIDS and see if you are suffering or not. The test will come out to be negative only because the virus has not really multiplied in your body to such an extent that it can be detected easily. Okay, so we see that there is always going to be a little window period. Okay, chalo. Anyways, so now what happens, guys? You have contracted the virus, and now the virus multiplies inside the body. Okay, but now, as I said, but it requires a little window period. Okay, and this window period is generally going to be around 6 months or so that it can be visible in your body. Okay, but requires window period to be detected. Okay, fine. But now the second thing, guys, now the second phase is where you are going to be asymptomatic, meaning no symptoms at all. You are as it is. Okay, you are not showing any symptoms. You are healthy. You are just doing fine. No symptoms at all. So asymptomatic, no symptoms. Okay. After this, now what happens, guys? Slowly, you start showing symptoms. Okay. Now, the next phase is going to be your symptomatic phase. Okay. So here, now suddenly you start suffering from different kinds of diseases. We say you are going to start suffering from secondary infections. Okay, now secondary infections. Now, see, guys, what happens is you are suffering from AIDS. Okay, meaning you have contracted the disease. Okay, you are suffering from AIDS. But now, what is AIDS going to do? The AIDS virus, it is going to lower the efficiency of your immune system to fight the virus. So now, what it is going to do is, see, you will not be showing symptoms of AIDS, but what will you suffer from? Cough, cold, TB, all these things you are going to suffer from. Guys, this cough, cold, TB, guys, TB, if you start contracting, this is a very, very important indication that you may be suffering from AIDS. Okay, keep this thing in mind. So now you will see symptoms of all these things. This thing is going to keep on continuing. Slowly you will know that, oh, you are continuously suffering from cough, cold, all these unwanted infections. You are going to do a routine checkup, and there you're going to come to know that, oh, you are suffering from AIDS. Now, how long this is going to continue till you get properly full blown AIDS? Guys, this entire thing continues for around 15 to 20 years. 15 to 20 years till you get this completely full blown AIDS. But does it mean that your health is improving day by day? No, your health is deteriorating. Okay, so that way, guys. But now, like I said, so this was happening in your symptomatic ones, people who were showing symptoms. I told you there are going to be these other ones who don't show any symptoms. These are known as non-progressors. So here, see, just like how we have carriers for different diseases, same way, these are also going to be the same thing. They show no symptoms at all. And because they show no symptoms at all, they will feel that, oh, they are not suffering from the disease. So they will have unprotected intercourse, maybe with random people. Then what? All those people will start suffering from your AIDS. That is going to happen. Okay, and guys, like I said, what are some of the most important symptoms of AIDS? See, you are not going to have AIDS symptoms. I told you symptoms are going to be of something else. Like you are going to have cold, you are going to have cough, you are going to have weakness. Okay, you are going to have loss in weight. Okay, you are going to have TB. Like I said, guys, TB, this is one of the most important indications. Okay, but now, guys, okay, we are talking about all these things, but then what is the treatment? Let's say there is a person who is suffering from TB. Then what? Then how can you treat this thing? So, guys, we have different kinds of treatment which are there for AIDS. Okay, some of the most important ones, let's try to list them down. Okay, so first thing is we are going to have various kinds of drugs. Okay, uh, okay, so we have different kinds of drugs. And guys, what are these drugs? These are called as your antiretroviral drugs. I will tell you what is this retroviral and antiretroviral. I will tell you a little later. Okay, antiretroviral drugs. Okay, but now what is the exact idea, guys? So what are these going to do is, see, your HIV is a retrovirus. Why do we call it retrovirus? Because it shows the presence of a reverse transcriptase. Okay, and that reverse transcriptase can change the DNA to RNA, RNA to DNA over and over again. That is why we call them as a retrovirus. Okay, but now these antiretroviral drugs, what is their job? Their job is going to be to prevent the multiplication of the virus, okay, to reduce the viral load. And so in that doing so, they are going to extend the longevity of the patient. Okay, so which are these antiretroviral drugs? So we have, guys, the first therapy actually, which is done for this, highly active, highly active antiretroviral therapy. Highly active antiretroviral therapy, or we call this thing as HART. Okay. Second thing, after this, guys, we have just plain antiretroviral therapy. That is your ART. Okay, the same thing. Okay. But now, guys, the drugs which are used in all of these, okay, what are these? We have tenofovir. Okay, so here we are going to use tenofovir. Okay, or this is also known as TDF. Okay, then second one, guys, we are going to have efavirenz, efavirenz or EFV. Okay, then we have now the most important ones, guys. We have lamivudine and zidovudine. Okay, so here also we use the same thing. So we have lamivudine. This is also known as 3TC. Okay, 3TC. And we have zidovudine. Okay, lamivudine and zidovudine. Guys, these are like very, very important drugs. In fact, this lamivudine and zidovudine, they prevent transplacental transfer. They prevent transplacental transfer of the virus. So from where to where, guys? From the mother to the fetus through the placenta. So, okay, from mother to the fetus. And that is why, guys, today, even if, okay, even if your mother is like suffering from AIDS, still there is a possibility that the baby you're going to have is going to be free of the disease. Okay, because we have these. Just a moment.
because we are going to have these things. Okay, so okay, these drugs. So guys, these are some of the most important drugs that are there. Okay, so this is what we need to know with regards to your age. But then guys, we still need to know how is the laboratory diagnostics done, and how is the structure of the virus. Okay, but what we'll do guys, for the timing, we'll stop over here. Next class when we come back guys, we will like uh sir, today I did not get it. Okay, so what we will do is guys, we have one small part that is remaining, okay, with regards to your age. And then after that we have a little bit of general part, like what is your adolescence, what is your addiction, then what are your different kinds of drugs, and what is drug addiction. So that is all what we'll cover in the next class guys. Okay, chalo. So once again guys, we'll stop over here for the day, and I will see you in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye bye everybody. Bye bye. Yes, wish you the same. Yeah. Yes, Devan, go on. What if we make a vaccine for AIDS given to children to safeguard them from it? No, at the moment it is not possible. See, when I will talk about the structure of AIDS virus, na, at that time I will tell you how it happens. See, the AIDS virus, you know, he has, let's imagine, he camouflages, meaning what happens, your immune system cannot see it at all. So even if you give vaccine, first of all, we haven't developed a vaccine for AIDS as such. Okay, so to give the vaccine to the kids, it is once again a questionable thing. So we don't know really whether this will work or not in the current scenario. Yes. Anything else? Yes, there is one person who has been completely cured from it. Okay, but that we are still trying to do a little research. Okay, there was one person, 101%, this person is free of AIDS. So they are still trying to find out, like, how was his immune system, what really helped him to, overcome the disease that way. Yeah. Okay. Chalo. Yeah. Bye bye. Bye everybody. Bye bye. Have a nice day. Happy Raksha Bandhan to everyone. Bye bye.